This podcast was written and created by Avi Melamed, Middle East intelligence analyst and founder of the Inside the Middle East Institute.
Imagine a controversial video of, say, a classic Texas rodeo prompting a massive state investigation, right? Only for officials to suddenly discover the footage was actually shot in Europe. Welcome to today's deep dive.
Yeah, it is quite the scenario.
Right. So we are unpacking a really fascinating article by author Avi Melamed today. He explores exactly this kind of cultural paradox in Egypt, centered entirely around a viral belly dancing video. Our mission today is to understand how a society can, actively reject the very art form that serves as its historical mirror.
Well, Avi Melamed highlights a sharp contradiction right out of the gate. Belly dancing is, as we know, inextricably rooted in Egyptian folklore.
Oh, absolutely. You see it everywhere.
Exactly. You see it immortalized in classic Egyptian cinema, and it remains a massive staple at weddings and social celebrations. Yet when a video recently circulated on X showing a young woman in medical attire belly dancing in what looked like a dental clinic, the public uproar in Egypt was just immediate and intense.
Which is the part that is hard to square. I mean, if you see this dance everywhere in Egyptian culture, how does a random dental clinic video trigger a formal investigation by Egypt's Ministry of Health?
It sounds absurd, but they treated it like a national crisis.
Yeah, only to find out the video wasn't even filmed in Egypt. It was shot in Israel.
Right, and the reaction seems disproportionate until you look at the recent historical context that Avi Melamed provides. This sensitivity it has a clear precedent.
We're talking about the Dina incident.
Yes. In late 2025, the renowned Egyptian belly dancer Dina announced plans to establish an academy dedicated to teaching Middle Eastern dance.
I recall reading about that. That initiative didn't just cause a stir online, it escalated all the way to a heated debate in the Egyptian parliament.
A huge high-level debate, yeah.
Which brings up the central paradox Avi Melamed is examining for us. If belly dancing is the quintessential Egyptian art form, why do both an educational academy and a random clinic video provoke such a fierce systemic rejection?
Well, to answer that, Avi Melamed points to a decades-long cultural transformation driven by conservative religious circles. They have successfully reframed the dance.
Reframed it how, exactly?
Instead of a cultural asset, they portray it as a direct threat to public morality that contributes to societal decline.
But how did that reframing happen so successfully? You do not just erase centuries of folklore overnight.
No, you don't. Avi Melamed brings in the analysis of Egyptian columnist Mahmoud Khalil to explain the mechanism behind this. Khalil traces the shift back to the 1970s, during a period of Islamization in Egyptian society.
Okay.
The crucial detail here is how this movement manifested. It focused heavily on outward appearances, prioritizing external symbols like wearing galabias, growing beards, or carrying miswak sticks.
So it became less about internal ethics and more about a visible uniform.
Yes, essentially.
Wow. When a society measures morality purely by what you wear rather than how you treat people, you create an environment of intense public surveillance. Everyone becomes a critic of everyone else's outward behavior.
And that intense public surveillance is exactly what fosters intolerance. Avi Melamed uses Khalil's distinction to show how prioritizing those external displays over internalized values leads to social rigidity and ideological extremism.
That makes a lot of sense.
Because when outward conformity is the primary metric for morality, anything that deviates, like traditional dance, becomes an easy target. It creates a cultural regression where a society actively polices and suppresses its own heritage.
That cultural rigidity makes the punchline of the viral clinic video even more striking.
It really does.
We know the Egyptian Ministry of Health investigated it and found it was filmed in Israel, but the specific details of the dancer add a brilliant layer of irony to Avi Melamed's analysis.
Right. The dancer is Maria Ganayev. She is a Ukrainian-origin dentist living in Israel, and she's actually been a professional belly dancer for 20 years.
It is a fascinating twist. The very art form being fiercely rejected and policed by institutions in its homeland is being passionately preserved and performed by a Ukrainian-Israeli dentist.
Yeah, it perfectly reinforces the final point Avi Melamed makes in his article: art truly has no borders.
It is a profound realization. We have traversed from a seemingly simple internet controversy to a parliamentary debate, uncovering a deep ideological shift that fundamentally transformed how a society views its own historical reflection.
A total shift in perspective, yeah.
Right. We started today looking at a society rejecting its own cultural pillars, but this journey leaves you with a much more complex question to consider. If traditional art forms face strict ideological rejection in their absolute birthplace, yet are passionately preserved and practiced by foreigners abroad, who actually gets to claim ownership of a culture in the modern world?
Art has no borders.
This podcast is made possible by supporters like you. ITME is an independent nonprofit institute committed to apolitical, intelligence-based Middle East education.
To learn more or to support our work, visit our website www.insidethemiddle-east.com.